progress that is going on around the globe. And what we need to understand is global power. Now, there was a study produced, a scientific study produced in the autumn of 2011, which analyzed 43,060 global transnational corporations. And what they did is they studied common directorships and shareholdings to ascertain who actually controlled these 43,060 transnational corporations. What they discovered from the public records is that 40% of these corporations, 43,060 of them, 40% of them is controlled by just 147 what they describe as super entities. And these are corporations with holdings in other corporations. Of those 147 super entities, the top 45 of the top 50 are financial. And in the top 20 are the usual suspects, the global banks, JP Morgan Sachs, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, and others. Now, it is this web of power that not only controls 40% of those companies, but 60% of their revenues. Now, what that means is they effectively control global business, and that manifests itself in many ways, one of which is trade agreements. And I hope that later today you'll hear from Linda Coucher, who's been researching trade agreements for over 10 years. And these are weapons of control and suppression and exploitation. And they've been used in secret. They're drafted by the corporations with the connivance of the European Union and all the other so-called governmental bodies. And they're drafted by them, they're negotiated in secret, and then they are implemented in all those countries that sign up to them. And if we sign up to, say, for example, the US-EU Free Trade Agreement, it completely removes any possibility to stop the privatization, the wholesale privatization of the NHS. And it's vital that we understand these things. The problem is, the BBC and all the other media that should be exposing this on our behalf are silent on the issue. They report when they are signed, but they tell us nothing of the negotiations.
For the state.
Sorry?
For the state.
For the state. And one manifestation of the secrecy is that at the moment in America they are negotiating something called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And this is an agreement between America and a bunch of Asian nations, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a whole
Australia, Japan.
Asian countries. Now there's a senator in America called Ron Wyden who tried to find details of this agreement that was being negotiated on behalf of the American people. And he, as an elected representative of the people, could not get access to those agreements and what was being discussed. So this is a completely non-democratic, despotic mechanism to impose control on people around the world, and they're being negotiated on our behalf, and the BBC and all the other news media are silent on this issue. And those media are complicit and in the control of the 140 super entities. Now, behind those 140 super entities are quite likely a much narrower range of people. And the reason for that is that behind the shareholding registers are nominee companies and trusts. And it's very difficult to find the beneficial owners of these entities. If you've got a nominee company, all that shows on the register is the name of the nominee company. You don't know who holds the nominee company. But over the years of research that I've done, and looking at around the public records that are available, news stories, etc., I suggest to you that concentration of ownership is actually within the hands of a very small number of family dynasties. Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Morgans, Vanderbilts, Wahlbergs, Morgans. There are a number of families that control these corporations. And these people are never seen in the public face, but the corporations are the means by which they implement their power and attract yet more wealth and power to the top of the pyramid. That is the way the world works. You will not learn this from the mainstream media. You certainly won't learn it from the BBC. And therefore you need to go out and look for information. And there's so much misinformation, you've got to work hard to work out what's true and what's not true. But you must rely on your own judgment. Don't accept the word of other people. Anybody who holds themselves out as a minister of truth needs to be suspected, because you shouldn't even believe what I say. You need to judge for yourself. So all I say to you is use not your emotion, but your cognitive process to work out what is going on. That way we have a chance of changing the world from the bottom up, as Occupy and other groups around the world wake up to the reality of the power structures that control us. Thank you.